People are panicking like never before about the economy and the inability to find a job. And even the people that do find a job, they're seeing that the job is not paying enough to keep up with the cost of living. So now they got to go find another job, or they have to keep their side hustle and get another full-time job. Any way you look at it, we're going to get to the bottom of it, folks. Let's hear from a few people, give their take on the economy, and is it really true that nobody's hiring right now? Well, it's actually not true. There's some companies and some industries that are hiring more than others, and we're going to talk about that later on in the video. But first, let's hear from a few people that are having some troubles right now and try to sort through this. Take a listen.
Job market is actually going to make me crash out because I graduated last year with a degree in marketing and a degree in management. I did 2 majors, and I was promised a job. I was promised if you joined student orgs, recruiters would love that. Bet. I joined 4. I was promised if you go above and beyond in your education, recruiters would love that. Bet. I went to Europe twice to study abroad. I was promised if I was involved in school, for example, like me being a TA, I was that in school too, I'll get a job. I was promised a whole bunch of things. If I did everything right. I did everything. I had internships too. I had about 3 internships, 4 if you include my teacher assistant role, and I was promised to get a job. And unfortunately, it's been a year of job hunting. I've been rejected by over 200 companies. So what do you do in that situation? What do you do when you're promised all of these things, but none of those things happen? You've basically been lied to. My goal was to work corporate for 2 years, pay off my student loans, live at home, but unfortunately that's not the case. Unfortunately, I'm living at home still, and instead of paying off my student loans, it's accumulating debt as we speak. And it's like, what do you do? What do you do? Like, you're saying like Gen Z doesn't want to work. All these people are saying like, oh, Gen Z doesn't want to work. Dude, we want to work. You just think we're underqualified. You're saying entry-level role, but wanting 5 years.
We're gonna talk about this here. I'm not gonna pause it that much. I just wanted to interject to let you know we're gonna talk about this and try to figure out what she's going through and what she did wrong, and hopefully what we can not do if we're in this situation.
Years of experience, wanting a master's degree, wanting 50 different certifications. What? And then you also say entry-level role, but then that role consists of you doing 5 different jobs, 5 different separate jobs for that role. It's like, dude, what do you do in that situation? Because like, honestly, it's just annoying, and it's making me thinking about just doing a career change. I mean, I am about to do my master's very, very soon and doing it in a different area of business because like, I just don't know. I don't know what to do. If it sounds like you, like you're not alone. And it really puts you in a position of like, wow, I really thought that I was going to be secure after college, after doing everything right. But unfortunately, when you do everything right, you still don't get nothing. Doesn't make sense. I don't know. F this, bro. F this.
All right, folks, let's talk about it. She said a few things in there that kind of raised some eyebrows. One of the things was, she said a few times, she said, I was promised. I was promised this. I was promised a job if I did an internship. I was promised a job if I got a degree. It sounds like she already has a degree. She's going for her master's degree now. Still can't get a job. Still living at home. Can't pay down her student loans. It's accumulating interest, she said. But going back to what she said towards the beginning, she said, I was promised. I was promised a job. Folks, no one can ever promise you a job. They may make it seem like you're going to get a job so you can borrow money to go to college and get a student loan. I'm sure the people selling the student loans probably say that similar type of verbiage to try to get people to take out the loan, of course. But no one can promise you a job. Can anybody really say, if you get this degree, if you get this piece of paper, next year, 2 years, 3 years from now, you're definitely, I guarantee you're going to get a job in this industry, right? No one has that foreknowledge. No one has that crystal ball. Do you know what the economy is going to be next year? And going back just 1 year ago, no one would have thought that this year would be as bad as it is. I mean, I think maybe myself and some other people who've been really watching all the factors, probably most of my audience actually, knew that this economy was only going to get worse for most people, right? Doesn't mean it's getting worse for everybody. The stock market just made another all-time high. The billionaires doing better than ever. The top 10% raking in more cash than ever. more profits in general. But overall, the most of the working class people are doing worse now than they were last year. And in fact, we're seeing numbers at the worst since 2020. You look at layoffs, the worst since 2020. You look at car repossessions, the worst since 2020. Well, actually, car repossessions the worst since 2009 financial crisis. Right, that's been going on for a while. But a few people, I think a lot of people are making a mistake thinking that they were guaranteed to get a job if they get a degree. That's why we're seeing so many people, they can't pay off their loans, their student loans are accumulating interest, and they just can't keep up with the cost of living in general. Now, the cost of living is a big problem for many people, but especially for young people just entering the workforce. But we are seeing a huge trend of people talking about the difficulty in getting a job. The person back there, the previous video, she said she put in, 200 job applications? I'm hearing that. I'm hearing 300, 500. I'm hearing 600 job applications that people have put in. So if you're putting in 600 job applications, you're probably not tailoring your resume good enough to each job. You're probably just sending out a resume to everybody that's hiring, which is not the way to do it. I think you want to narrow it down just to maybe 5 or 10 jobs, and then personalize your resume to the job specifically that you're looking for, right? So that may involve having a few different resumes. That's just my take on it. I'm sure a few other may disagree or agree with me, but let's hear from a few other people. Then we're going to talk about what's happening on the other side and what's going on with layoffs right now. Not only is it hard to get a job, it's hard to keep a job because layoffs are the highest since 2020. We're going to get into that in just a few minutes, but first, take a listen to this.
Guys, at this point, I'm going to have to start selling feet pictures because this job market is unreal. I have never seen a job market like this. I've never had so much trouble finding a job. When can anybody ever tell me before that you have applied for hundreds and hundreds of jobs? Like, I have years of experience in healthcare, in customer service, in education. I have a bachelor's degree that I can't even use. At this point, I have applied for more than 600 jobs. I am running out of thoughts to put on cover letters.
600 jobs. Wow.
I am running out of everything. Am I using ChatGPT? Absolutely. Aren't we all? Because we don't know what else to say on the cover letters. We're trying to tweak our bullet points or our summaries because we don't know what else to say. Like, and the fact that I have to just end up waiting a few more days to go back on LinkedIn or Indeed or even just different company websites because it's the same thing, because I'm applying so much and it's constantly the same jobs. But the problem also is that these are ghost jobs. They're not even real. Or you continue to see the same job that, like, reposted 2 weeks ago, and yet it says, 100 people have clicked on it. Well, then obviously they're just not even looking. But this is absolutely unreal. Obviously, costs are up. I'm in Illinois, so we've got tax on tax on tax on tax on tax. So our gas is nearing $4 because we have a new gas tax, and then we have the tax on the gas tax. And how are people supposed to survive? And I'm so tired of hearing like, oh, people are lazy and they don't want to work. Are you kidding me? I know I am not the only one. I see these TikToks all the time. People applying for hundreds of jobs. We're trying. Like, it's not a bunch of lazy people. Are there lazy people out there? Of course there are. But we're being put in with a lot of people that don't want to work when we're trying. I've seen people on LinkedIn who have applied for more than 1,000 jobs, which I'm not far from.
1,000 jobs?
But this
And you're not getting a call?
is absolutely unbelievable. And I have applied, look, my bachelor's is in the healthcare field. Would I take something in customer service, or like right now I just kind of do a little bit of side hustling education, like tutoring and stuff? Just give me a job where I can pay the bills and have some benefits. I don't think that's too much to ask for. Okay, guys.
All right. She said she heard from people or watched a video from people saying that they applied to 1,000 jobs. I think those people were exaggerating. I think they probably just did a lot of job applications. So they're like, oh, I applied for 1,000 jobs, just kind of exaggerating. There's no way you can apply for 1,000 jobs. If you're serious about finding a job and you apply for 1,000 jobs, if you're really applying for jobs that are hiring, I don't think there's a way that you can apply for that many jobs and not get a job. But here's what I think the mistake, I think there's many mistakes, but I think one of the main mistakes people are making is they're looking for jobs when they don't already have a job. Right? That's one of the worst things to appear on a resume, that you're not working. Right? Unless you're a recent graduate. If you're not working, that's a big red flag. And it could be for a good reason. It could be that you got laid off. It could be a good reason. But the fact that you're not working, recruiters don't like that. In fact, I would go out on a limb and say a lot of hiring managers and hiring departments, they would rather hire somebody without a degree working at McDonald's than they would someone that wasn't working with a degree, unless they were a recent grad. But I would argue to say that they would take somebody that's working, even if it was McDonald's or a fast food gig, in whatever job they're applying for. And of course, there's exceptions. There's highly skilled jobs. There's jobs that require certain advanced degrees. But in general, I think that could be something that people are overlooking of recruiters. And I could be wrong. I mean, let me know what you think about any of this down in the comments. But the job market is bad. The economy isn't doing that well. People are pulling back on spending. Look at Las Vegas. They just reported a big drop in people touring and tourists coming there and spending money. And they're going to have to start cutting prices on the Strip now because the tourism is down. And it was bound to happen sooner or later. People are pulling back in certain areas on certain types of spending. Still a lot of people blowing money. Still a lot of people running up credit card debt. That's still happening. But if you look at certain areas, and especially entertainment items, people are spending back and they're slowing down on their spending. Now, one of the job industries I've seen still hiring is insurance companies, right? Insurance is the law. If you want to drive a car on the road, you have to have insurance. So we're still seeing a big demand in insurance companies hiring. Also, a lot of leisure hospitality jobs still hiring, hotels, the service industry, the service sector, healthcare. But these people are still saying they're putting in 500, 600, 1,000 applications here. Let's hear from a few other people and try to get to the bottom of this.
Market is terrible, but here's my best advice that I can give somebody who's looking for a job right now. Number one, stay off of these recruiting websites, LinkedIn, Indeed, what's another one, Built-in. You don't want to go to those websites and think that, oh, this is the opportunity for me to find a job. I would say about 80% of those jobs are fake jobs. They're not real. They're either jobs that the companies are just posting so they can get their numbers up and say like, hey, we posted this job. We got this many applications for their statistics or whatever. I'm not too sure why they're posting fake jobs to steal your information. That's another reason. But yeah, stay off those websites. That should.
Another thing I heard with that, sorry to interrupt. Another thing I heard though, is that recruiters want to fill up their day with interviews, even if they know they've already got the position set, because recruiters, they don't want to lose their job either. So what I've heard is some of them are acting like they don't have the position filled yet, even though they've got many different qualified candidates. They're still going to interview and fill up their calendar, fill up their day in their calendar with interviews so they don't lose their job, right? Interesting point, but let's finish up and see what this guy says.
Not be your main source to look for jobs. While I'm not saying that you can't get a job from there, what I'm saying is that it's flooded with fake jobs, fake recruiters, companies that just want to get their numbers up. It's not a good source for you to go and apply for jobs and think like, oh, this is where I'm going to get the job. So stay off those sites. And
fake jobs are real too. Companies want to make it look like they're growing. Even if they're not, they want to make it look like they're hiring. And if a company's saying that they're growing and not hiring, that looks kind of strange. So some of them are putting out jobs that they don't intend to fill, which is crazy. But I believe that's true. I mean, let me know what you think down in the comments.
Instead, what you want to do is you want to go to actual company sites. If you're applying for Amazon, you want to apply for Amazon on Amazon's career site. You don't want to go to Indeed and apply for Amazon. Go to Amazon's career site and apply for them. Same thing for Home Depot. If you want to apply for Home Depot, go to Home Depot's career site. Don't go to LinkedIn to apply for Home Depot, because first off, Home Depot is going to look at their career site before they look at anything else. The next, and this is probably the most important thing, your resume is not a one and all thing. Your resume needs to be tailored to each job that you apply to. Not
What did I say earlier? I didn't pre-watch this video, folks, so I think these are some of the strategies that people need to look at. But on the other hand, the economy isn't doing well, folks. Let's look at the layoff numbers real quick, and we're going to hear from a few other individuals. Also, before we get to that, there's a term out there that people are using, and they're calling it crashing out. They're crashing out. I've heard a lot of people say I'm crashing out. It's a recent term popularized by Gen Z, especially on social media, which is a sudden and uncontrolled emotional outburst. And some of them are screaming. They're fed up with the economy and the cost of living. They're screaming in the videos. They're literally screaming at the camera. It's an outburst or shutdown due to intense feelings of being overwhelmed, frustrated, or overstressed. So some of them are lashing out and screaming. Other times they're shutting down, they're breaking down, they're crying. We've played some of the videos here. People are breaking down about the cost of living, about the financial situation right now. But yes, layoffs this year, 2025, they have surged to the highest level since 2020. And that's a mixture of different factors: the federal job cuts, corporate restructuring, cost cutting, AI replacing jobs, the slowdown in the consumer spending, different patterns. So folks, this is going to continue, and I think it's going to get to the worst since the financial crisis, which we're seeing car repossessions right now, the worst since the financial crisis. Layoffs aren't that bad yet, but they're on their way. I think by the end of I'd say by the beginning of next year, like a little bit less than a year, we're going to see the layoffs worse, maybe an all-time high, but definitely the worst since they've been since 2009. I mean, let me know what your call is down below. What do you think about that? But let's take a listen to this. Because some people are saying that age discrimination is happening right now on a large scale.
Older people who are looking for jobs often think that it's age discrimination. That's the reason that they're not getting hired. Now, I know this video will be controversial and some people will be upset by it, but the intent here is to actually help these folks get jobs. And as a person with not much hair left and what little I have is gray, I'm also qualified to talk in this video. So my name is Matt, if you don't normally follow me, and I've been in hiring and HR for over 20 years. So when it comes to older people, I get messages every day from folks that are looking for work, struggling, trying to figure out what they're doing wrong in the process, and just trying to close that gap to get hired or get a better job if they're looking to level up. Now, I get a lot of messages from older people that are very good-naturedly written, something to the following. Hey, Matt, I'm trying to come back into the workforce, or I'm trying to change jobs and nobody will hire me because of my age, but really you're in your own way. And that attitude is what is getting in your way. So I will tell you that I have interviewed thousands of people over the course of a very long career and still go to several interviews every month for different roles within my organization. And the folks that come in, regardless of age, and have the attitude that they're go-getters and want to learn something new are the people that are getting hired. So like in the hire...
There you go, folks. I'm going to just stop it there because... keep that in mind. If you're looking for a job, even if you have experience, even if you're not old, if you just act like, okay, you should get this job because you have experience, but you're not showing the willingness or desire to learn and try out new things and try hard, basically. You're not just leaning back on your resume or your experience or your age, right? You're showing willingness to work hard and learn new things. I mean, what else can we do, folks? I mean, we've got this economy to deal with. Let me know what you think about this down in the comments about any of this job situation. Are you finding a job? Is the economy look like it's crumbling to you, or is it better than ever? Some people say it's better than ever. I know people that are making money now like never before. The problem is the money they're making is not going very far, and even people making 100,000 plus where I'm at, and even acquaintances and friends of mine, 100K plus is nothing. It's like minimum wage. It's like barely scraping by here in California. Let me know, people. As always, keep stacking. Bye for now. Peace.